안녕하세요. 아시아경제TV 코인인터뷰 시간입니다. 저는 오늘의 진행을 맡은 아나운서 강채원입니다. 자, 저희 오늘 모셔볼 분은요, 아주 특별한 게스트분입니다. 저희가 큰일을 냈는데요. 자, 그럼 이미 한번 지체하지 말고 모셔보도록 하겠습니다. 저희가 오늘 모셔볼 게스트 오버스탁닷컴의 Patrick Byrne 대표 모셔보도록 하겠습니다. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Elena. It's an honor to be here.
Happy to have you here. Okay, so what brought you here to Korea?
Well, we're here with a blockchain version of Wall Street called tZERO, and we came primarily to find good Korean partners. We know you have the Korean blockchain and Bitcoin and crypto market is so advanced, it's famous the world over. And we wanted to come here and look for potential partners for us.
I see. Okay, so how are your days in Korea?
It's been fantastic. It's been about 72 hours. Super busy. I've met everybody in the community. I've met all these different leading figures in the community from your various exchanges and such. It is the world over, the Korean market is known to be the most advanced. It's the third biggest in the world, but adjusted for population, it's the most advanced. Very sophisticated players here.
Oh, happy to hear that. Okay, so you're often called this Bitcoin Messiah on Wall Street. How do you like that name?
It's silly, but I'm a philosopher by background. I have a PhD in philosophy.
Okay.
So I find myself speaking about the bigger meaning of this revolution from time to time. I think that's why they call me that, but I don't think of myself as the Messiah of anything.
Or a cryptocurrency genius then?
Well, that's kind. Okay. That's generous.
Okay, I see. So now let's talk about Overstock. So Overstock has accepted the payment in Bitcoin since 2014, which is pretty early, I think. So tell us the reason for adoption of such a new payment, and plus, if you can add what Overstock does.
Well, Overstock is, first of all, something like Amazon. If you know Amazon, only it's less expensive and with better customer service. But other than that, the same as Amazon. It's a $2 billion internet retailer. Setting that aside, we took it, I'm philosophically interested in Bitcoin. I used to study the mathematics. I have a PhD from Stanford. I used to study the mathematics underneath cryptography. And so when Bitcoin came along, I found it very interesting. I think it's possible to remake civilization on Bitcoin. It can be the great unification. It can be something that transcends. Should I explain? I don't mean to go on.
Go for it, please.
Okay, you cut down as much of this as you want. But for 6,000 years, we've had one way of doing things, and that is when strangers can't trust each other, we create these third-party institutions we all trust. That's kind of the evolution of government, the evolution of corporations in many ways. That's what Well, now we have a way where we can do things and we don't need those. So we don't really have to fight anymore about, there's many ways we do not need those institutions. Or it's, in a sense, blockchain is going to make the job easier for government to stop crime.
Right.
And so anyway, there's such huge potential to change the face of the earth and bring peace and all kinds of wonderful things.
I see. So let's talk about tZERO now. So what kind of coin it is and what motivated you for issuing such coin?
Well, 14 years ago, I got involved in I became somewhat famous for taking on Wall Street. I was in a fight with Wall Street and I exposed some things. And what I realized when Bitcoin and blockchain came along is that it is possible to recreate Wall Street, but to create it on blockchain. That means all kinds of mischief that goes on Wall Street actually becomes impossible. In a blockchain-based version of Wall Street, a whole bunch of things that regulators in the business of trying to stop, you can't even do it in a blockchain. It's totally fair and honest and transparent to regulators, and it has so many great virtues over the system as it exists. We're going to change the way capital works around the world.
Okay, I see. So then what would be the greatest strength of the tZERO? What would be the best part of it?
Well, we started off with something. We bought a piece of Wall Street that was already SEC registered and compliant. and FINRA, another regulator, compliant. So we started with something that was already within the law, and then we built out towards blockchain. A lot of the world has done differently. They started with blockchain and crypto, and then they tried to build into the world, and the governments really aren't letting them go that way. But since we started with something that's all was legal and SEC registered and such, we've taken it and we've made it blockchain. And so now we have this platform, a trading platform that lets us really change the way Wall Street does business.
Okay, so I looked it up, tZERO, still studying on it.
Okay.
And there is this something called a digital locate received platform on tZERO.
Yes.
What's so special about it?
What's so special about that is there was a crack. There used to be a crack on Wall Street. And that crack had something to do with the crisis in 2008. There's and it was the system did not keep very good records in a certain corner, and some bad guys figured out how to use the fact that the system did not keep very good records there to manipulate. We have a product on blockchain that is a very good record keeper there, so it eliminates the chance that kind of market manipulation.
There are always bad guys.
But this will stop them. Blockchain can stop the bad guys.
This will stop the bad guys. I see. That's a huge thing. So okay, so it sounds like a good coin, and so now I wonder your team. So feel free to brag about your team members.
Well, because I already run a company with 2,000 people in
Yes.
it. As we built this company over the last 3 years, I took some wonderful people out of the 2,000 people company, and I gave what we call the dream team. I've created the dream team.
Okay.
The best technologists and a team in New York who's been in Wall Street for 27 years and know the Wall Street technology. And so a group of people from the Wall Street technology and a group of people from really a Silicon Valley approach. And we have melded them together and given them 3 years and about nearly $75 million. And they have created something beautiful. May I tell you another story quickly?
Sure thing.
The former chairman of NASDAQ, a guy named Bob Greifeld, he said back in November that 100% of the stocks and bonds being sold on Wall Street today could be turned into tokens. And in 5 years, 100% of the stocks and bonds will be tokens. Well, that means that the current plumbing of Wall Street is going to be obsolete in 5 years. It's going to need a replacement. What we have done is build the replacement. Over the last 3 years, we built the replacement, the blockchain replacement.
Blockchain replacement. I see. So what would be the ultimate goal of tZERO then?
The ultimate goal of tZERO would be to create a capital market that was fair and honest and impossible to cheat, and that the regulators had perfect visibility into at the most atomic level to be able to spot any cheating. Now there's kinds of cheating that sort of the regulators can see, but when they try to track it, it disappears into this mist. They can't find it. In our blockchain capital market, honest possibilities for cheating are greatly reduced. Regulators get perfect clarity. It's going to be, I think, a revolution in capital markets.
I see. So we have this Wall Street celebrity here in the studio. So now I wonder, what's your view on American cryptocurrency market? I mean, recently, the George Soros has changed his mind. So what's your view on American cryptocurrency market?
Well, I think that there's $3 billion worth of hedge fund money has come over and is playing in the cryptocurrency market. But over in the conventional system, the national market system, there's $3 trillion. And they are waiting to find some way to come over and play in here. You're not going to see these big institutions get wallets on exchanges. So they need a bridge to come across. That's another way to see what we've done is we have built this big pipeline or this big bridge. So that $3 trillion can now stay in its safe, regulated world but play in the world of crypto.
Play in the world of crypto. Okay, so how do you see what would there be changes in the cryptocurrency market in general in the world?
Okay.
Short term, long term, in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years.
It's definitely going to get more regulated. This is what's going on. For 85 years, there have been rules in America. It used to be that there were swindlers who would go around and they'd have fake stock certificate and they'd stop at some farm and swindle some widow out of her farm. So 85 years ago, they passed rules and laws that said if you're raising money from the public, you have to have a document that the lawyers and accountants look at and the government looks at and says is okay. Well, that's how it's been done for 85 years. If you don't do that, if you raise money from the public without following those rules, the SEC can show up 20 years later and rip up your company and force all the money to go back and destroy it. Well, last year, a bunch of these cryptocurrencies came out and these utility tokens, I think 80 to 90% of them evaded that law in the United States. And that means, and they contorted themselves into pretzels of logic to try to say these coins are not securities. At the end of the day, if you're raising money from the public, that's very likely a security. That means a lot of those companies are at risk that the SEC is going to come, if there's even one US citizen involved, the SEC has the right to come in and force that whole company to give back all the money and such. I think that the SEC is wiser than that. I've had some interaction with the SEC, and while 14 years ago I was critical of them, I'm actually very pleased to say it seems like a very open-minded and intelligent SEC that's trying to legitimately shape this market away from swindlers and stuff and towards a legal and safe capital market.
I see. So speaking of, you studied back in Beijing, am I right? So okay, so what's your view on China then? Because all the trading on cryptocurrency is banned in China, no ICO, no trading. But so if there is any view on China's cryptocurrency market on your side?
On my side, it seems that they've been rather schizophrenic about it because they discovered it early and there was great mining and such.
Yeah.
I know starting in September, they started to shut off the exchanges and they're really trying to force it out of the country. So I don't know what that reflects. I'm very curious, and to your neighbor to the immediate north, I understand that the leadership is very much into crypto. I'm intrigued by that. What is it that they see? On the one hand, they want it out of the citizenry, but that they're interested. I'd be very interested in finding out.
I'm very interested too. So for the last, if there's any comments that you want to leave for our viewers.
I would say that the Korean crypto market is world renowned. It is thought of as very sophisticated and the most dense, the most advanced, really, of any country. Per person, it's significantly bigger than the U.S. or Japan. So my congratulations to you. It's been a real honor to come and spend time meeting leaders in that community here, and I think it'll turn out to be a very wise choice that Korea was so advanced in this revolution.
Thank you. This brings the closure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Elena.
Thank you. 네, 지금까지 오버스탁닷컴의 CEO 패트릭 번과 함께 얘기 나눠봤습니다. 저희 코인 인터뷰는 앞으로도 공정하고 유익한 정보 전달해드리기 위해서 노력하겠습니다. 오늘도 시청해주신 여러분 고맙습니다.